Good morning, boys and girls. I'm very, very excited that we get back to school this week. We can't be there today or tomorrow, but we can starting on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I so look forward. I've been cutting and gluing and getting all kinds of projects ready. When you come back to school, we're going to learn about spiders. See if you can find out what the scientific name of a spider is before we start school back, and let me know. It's the scientific name. Well, it doesn't look like it outside at my house. It looks like winter. But I'm still going to read you a fall story about the squirrels, because we know the squirrels have been gathering their nuts and saving up for winter. So when in the winter it's hard to find food for them, they will have enough to keep them through the winter. I hope you've been singing your gray squirrel song with your parents. The Nutty Nut Chase is the name of this story. Hickory was making rude faces at Pecan when the strangest thing happened. Pop. What do you think it is? A shiny brown nut suddenly burst up from the ground. It wobbled, it shook, it wibbled, and it quivered. And then there lay it, teasingly delicious. Because squirrels like nuts, don't they? Wow, Pecan shouted. Well, lunch and dinner, said Hickory. It's a nut, said Pecan. It's mine, snapped Hickory. Who's making that noise, shouted Badger. I'm trying to sleep. All the animals came out to see what was happening. My nut, Pecan shouted. It's mine, yelled Hickory. I saw it first. Did so. Pop him on the nose, said Rabbit. Certainly not. Popping noses does not solve problems, said Badger. Oh, that makes me sad to think someone would think about bopping someone. Never. There'll be a competition and the winner will win the nut, said Badger. I know, said Hedgehog. The pickiest wins the nut. But you're the pickiest, said Pecan and Hickory. So am I, said Hedgehog, delighted. I win, I get the nut. Cutest gets the nut, the littlest rabbit said. I win. Enough, said the Badger. We will have to have a race. First to reach the post wins. Hooray for a race. Everyone cheered. Oh, everyone is wanting that nut, aren't they? Blackbird whistled and started the race. They were off. Pecan and Hickory shot ahead, but the rabbit was close behind. Hedgehog tried to run, but only managed to waddle. In a huff, he curled himself into a ball and rolled full speed down the slope. Littlest Rabbit looked back to see a prickly ball spinning towards them. Look out, he called. Too late. Uh-oh. Hedgehog crashed through the racer like a cannonball, and everyone landed in the prickly heap. Oh dear, said Badger. We'll have to start again, and prickly cannonballs aren't allowed. Hedgehog snorted and sulked off. Oh, he's pouting, isn't he? Do you see him pouting there? Is that going to solve anything? No, but he didn't follow the rules, did he? Blackbird whistled, and they were off again. Pecan and Hickory were neck and neck. My nut, shouted Pecan. I win. No, shouted Hickory, it's mine, I win. Suddenly the nut began to move. It twitched, it jerked, it jolted, it jiggled until plop. It disappeared down under the ground. It's a magic nut, shouted the little rabbit. Nutty magic, squealed the hedgehog, racing back to see. But it would have tasted magic, too. Where do you think the nut went to? How did it get down there? Pop. The nut sprang up right in front of the animals. Quick, grab it, shouted the littlest rabbit. All the animals shot across the grass, rolling and squeaking, jumping and hopping, banging, bopping each other. I got it, shouted Hedgehog, but the nut vanished again. That's my nose, said the mouse. What do you think's going on? Shh, said Badger suddenly. Look, he pointed at the magic nut that had appeared at his feet. Everyone tiptoe up to it. The nut shook and quivered. The animal looked in amazement. Help! Squealed the nut. Ah, squeaked the rabbit. A nut talking? A talking nut? Help! A nut talking? What do you think about that? Pecan and Hickory bent down and pulled and tugged, yanked and wrenched at the nutshell with all their might, and pop! Out flew the nutshell, sending Pecan and Hickory rolling backwards, and there, where the nut had been, was Mole. What? What do you think happened? Can you guess? They're all looking at Mole. Mole shook himself and stood up on his two tiny legs. Thanks, he said. I thought I would be stuck in that nutshell forever. Who was stuck? It was really not a nutshell. It was Mole with a nut on top of his head. Littlest Rabbit put the empty shell on his head. It makes a great hat, he giggled. That looked like the tastiest nut ever, groaned Pecan and Hickory. There's plenty more where that came from, chirped Mole, and he disappeared underground. So was it really just a nut? Who had the nut on top of his head? If you said Mole, you're right. So there's more where that came from. Let's see. Suddenly, the shiny nuts began popping up all over the place. There was enough for everyone. Pop, 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 pop. Magic, shouted Hickory. Magic, shouted Pecan. Nutty magic, everyone shouted, and they all munched with delight. Did they have to fight over that nut? Seemed like there was a lot of friend breaking in this story and not sharing, right? So here's a little mouse getting his little, yeah. So always remember when you're dealing with your friends, when things come up and you're not agreeing or things are not going the way you think, be a friend maker, not a friend breaker. Sharing is caring. Show respect. That means you listen to them and they listen to you. And treat others like you would want to be treated. How would you want to be talked to? Would you want someone to bop you on the nose? I don't think so. Or say a mean thing or yell at you? No, so think about what you're saying to your friends. Work it out, just like they worked it out in the end, and they all ended up with nuts, and they were all friends. I hope you enjoyed the story. I'm going to do a little science experiment with you with some things I have at my house. And I'll bring it to school this week so you can see it in person. But I'm going to show you on the video what we're going to be doing this week at school.